I'm Seanna and I'm recording this video to talk about my work with the World Summit. I came across the World Summit as a result of my association with the Free World Charter. Been living with a knowledge of what's wrong with the world, which had been a kind of background buzz, really. I was aware of the inequality and sadness that's a reality for much of the world, much of the people in the world, and of the corruption and greed that is largely responsible for that. But I'd managed to push it to, not to the back of my mind, but I felt that there was nothing I could do about it except live my best life within the system as it stood. And what happened a couple of years ago was that background buzz kept pushing itself to the front, and the enormity of the problem that as much as I could buy local, buy fair trade, give my kids the right tools to make the right decisions in life, it was small and the problems were huge, and I just got completely engulfed by them, and it felt so desperate, and it was almost like I could feel every ounce of sadness, and it completely consumed me. And then I stumbled across the Free World Charter. The Free World Charter is, in basic terms, it's a 10 principles of how the world could be a better place, and how the world could be a better place if we adopted those principles. But what really helped me was a little 5-minute video that just showed me that, as huge and complicated as those problems seem, there is actually a very simple solution. The only problem is getting the 7 billion people on this planet to agree to that solution. And although I was aware that all we have to do was quite huge, getting consensus from that number of people, at least there was a solution. There was something that could be done. And from the Free World Charter, I recommend visiting the Free World Charter at freeworldcharter.org. And watching that video, and as a result of finding that, I contacted Colin Turner, the author of the principles, and we became friends. And also through that, I found all the other groups, or lots of other groups, like the Ubuntu movement, the Venus Project, of course, United Earth, countless others. I joined lots of groups on Facebook and was talking to people, and I started to realise that I needed to live life differently. And I read one of Colin's books, which again I would highly recommend, F-Day, The Second Dawn of Man. It's a work of fiction, but it's very believable, and it's about how a different world that could come into being. It makes you realise that it's not just possible, that it is going to happen, and it's a case of when, not if, and that's given me great motivation, optimism. As a result of all those things, I made a decision to change my life. I gave away everything I owned, my clothes, my furniture, my home, everything, gave it all away, and I set out in the world with just one bag and a desire to not feed the system as much as I possibly could, so not use money wherever possible. I volunteered my time, and in exchange for resources, things I needed, it took me to lots of wonderful places. I house sat for people. I went to Romania, worked in a kids camp. I went to Portugal and worked on a yoga retreat. It's been a marvellous adventure, and living that way has put me in contact with some amazing people. It's sent me to the right places, and it seems that as a result of following my passion, I have inadvertently stumbled across situations that have given me the tools I need to learn the lessons I needed for the next stage of the journey each time. And that came to a new... there's been lots of pivotal moments in my journey, but in December of last year I got contact from Colin Turner, the author of the Free World Charter, asking if I would like to represent the Free World Charter at a mini summit in Mexico as part of the World Summit organisation. I was aware of the World Summit, but as I say, I joined lots of groups on Facebook, and it's very hard to know, which one or which groups are going to be the ones that work out the way to fix these things. So off I went, and life-changing isn't a big enough word. 17 delegates from all over the world, New Zealand, Spain, America, Canada, England, of course, all came together, and we were of different ages, genders, backgrounds, skill sets, and we spent 3 intense days of work. I want to use the word magical to describe what happened there, but that sounds too whimsical, too fanciful, and that's not what it was, but it was magical. We worked together, we unified, and we realised what we had to do. And I'm very proud and very excited about being involved with the World Summit. So what is the World Summit? Why do we need another group? I've already mentioned that there are hundreds of groups all over the world trying to do this. There's different websites you can go to, different people trying to do these, bring about these changes in different ways. And the changes I'm talking about aren't small fixes. This is people who have realised that to solve all the problems in the world, we need a huge shift in paradigm. The entire social, economic and political system, global systems, have to change completely. And yeah, there are hundreds of thousands of people, individuals, and thousands of groups that are working towards this. So why have another one? Well, the World Summit is different because we're not another one. What we are a group of people that have realised that we already have the solution out there somewhere. We already have, I talked at the beginning about the only problem with the Free World Charter was getting 7 billion people to agree. Well, luckily we don't need 7 billion people to agree. We just need critical mass to be achieved. So that's, I think the numbers are like 5% or something like that. Of people to want a change for it to become a reality, and that has been reached. The problem is that they're not united. These people groups are working in their own fields with their own expertise, their own knowledge, their own experiences, and we're not joined together. And that's what the World Summit wants to do. That's our goal, that's our mission, is to bring all of these groups, all these people that want this change together. Initially that will be a virtual bringing together. That's what we're all working on now. Since we left the World Summit, the mini summit in January, the 17 of us have worked tirelessly despite having our own. I'm still working in a full-time job, and most of the delegates are doing the same. We have our own lives to support, but every spare minute that we have is spent on. We have group meetings on Zoom, and every single time we have those meetings, 2 or 3 meetings a week, to decide what the next move is, to have actions. This video is the result of some of those meetings. And we go away from those meetings feeling motivated, ready for the next stage. And we have absolutely no doubt, not one of us has a single doubt that we are going to see this change as a result of the work that we're doing. And it's magical. So yes, initially virtually bringing people together. So we plan to contact all these groups and bring them together under the umbrella of the World Summit. We're not focusing on the differences between our groups. We're focusing on the similarities, on how we are the same, the things we want that are the same, and that no one needs to change what they're doing. No one needs to come and do what we tell them to do. Completely the opposite. This is a sociocracy, if you like. There's no top-down hierarchy. We want everyone to continue doing what they're doing because we don't know what the answer is, and we're not saying that we do, but we know that the answer is there amongst us. It's there, and if we come together and share the information, the knowledge and the skills that we have, it's going to happen. So initially, as I say, virtually, but the ultimate goal is to bring us together physically in a World Summit. We don't know how many people that will be or how many groups that will be, but we know that and we don't exactly know what the format of that will be, but we do know that what we will do is bring those people together and discuss solutions, discuss the options, and discuss how we're going to bring about this change. We're not asking the existing powers or systems for permission. We're not involving any, we're not trying to break any existing system. We're just going to build a new one. We're going to come together and create something new that is better than what is currently in place. And the more of us that come together and start working within that system, then the less people will be in the old system, and it will become obsolete, and the new and beautiful world that we all know in our hearts to be possible will come to be. This paradigm shift is coming, and it's a result of the work that people like Colin have done in the Free World Charter, and all those individual groups. They've done the groundwork, and now we need to bring them all together and work together to bring about a solution. And that's what the World Summit is doing, and that's what makes us different, and that's why this is the invitation of all invitations. We're inviting you to be part of this, and yes, you and whoever you represent, you're going to be part of this. Whatever you can bring to the table, whether it be your time, your resources, your skills, your expertise, or just your support, come and join the World Summit. Come and see what we're doing, and be part of the major paradigm shift that's coming our way. It's a very exciting time, and we're very glad to have you on board. Thank you.